Hello everyone, No Life here, and today I'll be going over the massive September 26th update that we got. Jeez, must have been almost a month ago, but uh, excuses aside as to why it took me so long to go ahead and review this patch. This thing is a bit of a doozy. There's quite a lot of things that are added to it, so starting off, the elephant in the room will be Rush Week. Rush Week was a build that definitely was very refreshing for me to play. Hell, I'd even argue it's a lot more balanced than the main game, and not even necessarily because you are unable to party up with others. It just overall feels like they made it keeping in mind that it's a 1v6, so it just feels like there's a lot more balanced things about it than the main game mode. Well, aside from, of course, the broken attic escape, which almost always guarantees at least one person gets out of the game. Two, if they know how to do the stupid crouch tech, because apparently it's a attendant mechanic for it to be RNG as to whether a second girl can come out or not. But the crouch tech kind of gets rid of the RNG. But moving along, I really feel like that game will, if polished up a bit, actually might have a long future ahead of itself. And I really hope that Gun doesn't just kind of fix some of the bugs and be done with it. I really think they should add more maps to it. Maybe even consider adding different characters. As maybe it might be a little bit of a hot take. I think it'd be interesting if they had a 1v6 map or whatever, where you're Leatherface chasing out the victims in the TCM 3D house there. I think that'd be an interesting scenario for them to kind of recreate in the game. But I did an entire video based off of Rush Week. So if you were interested in my more detailed thoughts on Rush Week on its own, I put a link in my description for you to check out. But just a little spoiler, there definitely is a lot of stuck spots, and Serena girls getting stuck like a stepsister in that game mode. So that's another thing I personally would love for them to fix. I don't believe I mentioned that in my video, but it's a little ridiculous how many areas you can just kind of get stuck in, and it's already bad enough we have issues like that with doors, which I guess this allows us to smoothly segue into the next part of my video here, and that's going to be the mountain of bugs that was introduced in this update. Unfortunately, we can't catch a break here. Even after the Nightmare Anniversary update, which just pretty much destroyed the game, there's still plenty of bugs present in the game, a lot of which that were caused from the Anniversary update. So before I get into that, I guess I'll at least get into the good here first. So the good being the bug fixes that they did change. So they changed the fuse box spawn on the mill. Now it can spawn inside the mill itself instead of the overgrown area next to where the valve tank is. This is honestly no better than when it was just next to the valve tank, as it spawns inside the mill, and you can actually check and see if the fuse box has been touched from the battery spawn. So while you're watching those two gates, you can peek over there. No family focus required. So I think that's still pretty strong, even though you still would have to come over and stop a victim from opening it and all that. Again, still being able to watch two objectives from one spot is strong, no matter how far away they are. But moving on along, we have Connie's focused ability. They said they removed the ability for the family to hear, but that is not true. All they did was lower how far away you need to be when that goes ahead and pops off. As I have had plenty of games where not just Connie and Sunny who got theirs fixed too, but Anna and Julie, when you're close to them when they activate their abilities, you still hear the sound effects for it. So I personally am okay with them keeping it the way it is, as I believe you should hear when they're in their abilities, as it's very valuable for you to be able to hear when they're in their abilities. As you know, okay, Julie's got infinite stamina, so I mean, there's not much we can really do about that, but it's still good to know. Anna, she's not an ability, to stop bothering trying to hit her for a little bit and go ahead and wait for her ability to end before you hit her. Unless you got so rid at that point, you probably could still just hit her. So you're still doing decent damage to it from it. But moving along, we have the lockpicking exploit. Thank God that's been fixed. That was the cheesiest thing that ever popped up in the game. As this already Victims already have an easy enough time picking through locks with just 50 proficiency alone. The fact they already have perks and an entire character that makes it even easier is a joke. So I'm glad that basically what's essentially a fast hands exploit has been removed from the game. Hands rip stall cooldown. There's not much really to say about this. I'll say exactly what I said before. It was too fast. Period. It needs to be a nerf. And as far as I can tell, it seems like they fixed the rare instance where it wasn't a ridiculously fat. I'm sorry, it wasn't a long balanced cooldown for the ripstall. So we have the tracker tag perk. They 100% fixed that. It even works on Sissy now, who previously it was bugged on. So I'm glad that they went ahead and fixed that, as it was pretty annoying having the entire perk not function in the characters, especially when they removed her ability to mark people from her abilities, which takes a lot of support aspect out of Sissy. So I also want to mention that you can find tracker tagged around Lingerer. I made an entire video about how amazing Lingerer is. So again, if you're curious about that, for the hell of it, I put that in my description below. But I also have a nice little clip here that if this doesn't cement how amazing this perk is, I don't know what to tell you. So if you are bored of using Scout and all the other chase build type stuff on Sissy, try this out. Aside from the fact that grappling is kind of the big counter to being poisoned by Sissy or even Nancy for that matter, I think you still might find some successes from just having essentially a nuke cloud from Linger. Now, I haven't had any instances of the family melee exploit happen where you take double damage from one swing, and that's good because that was really ridiculous when I did have that happen a couple of times. But besides that, they just fixed a bunch of missed stuff with the private matches. Like I can confirm that they did fix the stamina exploit with the swings, which I'm not even sure if that was in the main game or just private games or not. But I checked it out; it works. I also wanted to mention that they seem to have re-added. Well, no, what am I saying? I don't think they ever removed the Blood Moon effect from private games, but regardless, they seem to have updated it. The blood coloring Virtue Boy looking effect is only really prevalent outside, but when you're in a house, it's still kind of an orangish tint to it, but it's not nearly as hard on the eye. So if you really don't want to go outside and just get blinded, you could definitely just escape by the fuse box and avoid that awful tint. But with that, that's where we get into the bad here, and that is going to be the list of bugs that popped up as a result of this update. So first on the list is going to be stuck spots, namely with wells. For some reason, a lot of the wells, on gas stations especially, seem to get victims stuck in places. This is especially prevalent with Virginia. For some reason, she seems to get it worse than others, but I've even had it happen to Sonny, where he got stuck into a tire, and at this point, you're just forced to DC or wait for the game to kick you for an activity. Family can hit you during this spot, but it's a little finicky. So there's not really much I can say. It's just, maybe be careful of the well for the tool ladder. That one seems to get you stuck the most. Although I've had an issue where Leland, we chased him out of the generator side of the map, and I even locked it up with a duction trap, and it still somehow Leland managed to get in there. So the only conclusion I could come up with is the well didn't properly put him into the basement, and unfortunately he was locked in there with Johnny. And also want to mention there was a very weird game we had there, as all four victims snuck into that gen, and we had to chase them out one by one, with it ending by Connie still just ratting around in there for 5+ minutes until Johnny assumed everyone was going and left, and at that point Connie, of course, did Connie things and got out. Next up, we have another character-specific issue. This is the thing with I've seen a trend with this update. Everyone seems to have some sort of bug with their character that's exclusive to them. Like Sissy, I swear sometimes she gets up from door slams a little faster than she should. That's not a bad thing, I guess. Maria, for some reason, when she gets incapacitated, she's got no animation. She just flops on the floor immediately, so I don't know what that's about. We have the close encounters. They fixed those. However, the rework is still happening, and they weren't even supposed to fix it with this update. I mean, I guess it's not a bad thing, but this ties into the doors I was saying earlier. They fixed doors. Doors properly barge now, whereas before it took one extra barge in the should have to do so. However, now people are getting stuck on doors. A lot of times where you try to interact with the doors, you have to kind of step back from the door for it to swing open. And this can definitely get you killed or just harm you when you're chasing after a victim as it gives them unnecessary distance. We have the grandpa. I don't know what they did to grandpa. Grandpa's just super bugged. In addition, the fact that any victim that comes next to grandpa has a chance of being permanently marked for the rest of the game. Even incapacitation doesn't bug it. Grandpa has been reset back to his state, and I believe it was June where they first introduced the awful changes to him, where they put each grandpa perk to a set level that you had to get him up to. Now, the strange thing is in the perk description, despite the fact that the perks have reverted back to their old levels, such as grip being level 2 instead of 1 again, it still says they have the upgraded values from the July patch. However, I can confirm from games I've played where exterior alarm wasn't marking highlighted doors nearly as long as it's used to, that again, it just seems to have just reverted to the June values, but the description still show the July values. So thankfully, we got a Muerto Times that know that a lot of these issues that I'm talking about have been fixed. Yeah, it's just this game's in such a rough place right now. This is just I'm really starting to lose hope. First of all, in this game's future, but I've already lost faith in Black Tower from the anniversary update. They're not doing a very good job to get that faith back. Especially seeing as now we're getting into the ugly here, which arguably we've already been in. But the victim's endurance has been bugged yet again. Victims now have a fixed 25 endurance. Doesn't matter what you put into for their endurance. It's always going to be 25. Now, strangely, and this is a similar issue I discussed in the Rush Week, the victims seem to have a default condition onto them because even though their endurance is terrible, they can only run for like 9 seconds, which sounds like a lot, but it's not really much at all. Especially when you see my clips I'm showing here. The endurance you have isn't even enough for you to go from a toolbox all the way to the basement door in a family house here without you running out of stamina. Now, you seem to get your stamina back in 10 seconds, but I mean, I'm not sure if that's any better than it was before they bugged endurance here. This is something I noticed in Rush Week with the girls there. Their stamina is terrible. They can't sprint for long, but they get it back fast enough for you to hold Johnny hostage on a picnic bench because he's slower than them. And even though they run like a stamina while he's chasing them, they still get it back just in time to continue looping him there. So again, it's been confirmed that this is going to be fixed by the time we get our next update, which should come out by the end of the month here in October. But again, it's just like it's really sad. There's like all these issues. Like you could go well from the slaughterhouse, get stuck on the ground, potentially walk out of the map as a result of it. There's just like so many bugs in this game that need to be fixed, and it's just like when they're doing a spaghetti code, they fix one bug, then five more pop up. I don't know what needs to be done for them to fix things here, but they need to get it together. This is just sad to see. Another issue I noticed is Danny. There's something up with his tamper. In addition to the fact that for some reason the bar seems to show the incorrect progress, it also kind of blocks what you're doing, so you're not sure how far you are into tampering an object. Now, if you have a full bar knowledge and you tamper it, it's golden. I've heard some people claim that even with a full bar knowledge, it didn't apply the amount. I only played one game of Danny in a public game, and then I did some private games, and they seemed to sync up to both having issues. That's one thing, at least I could say they did, is even though they did some strange sort of, it feels like they went and reused the June update. It then fixed some changes here. um, they still seem to have been able to keep you being able to spawn into a private game by yourself. So again, that's what I mean by like a lot of these strange bugs and issues with this game. Like I don't know how they managed to go to a older version of the game and then keep going into a private game by yourself, add a rush week, and then fix some of these changes. It's just very strange. But again, yeah, that's the thing. Danny's Tipper being messed up. um, this is one I think they confirmed that they'll be fixed. I could be wrong. I don't know what they did to the exposure to game, but when you're looking at your characters in a customization menu, all the characters are as pale as a ghost. It looks like they bleached their clothes. So I don't know if this has to do with the rush week, as it doesn't look too bad when you're looking at the stuff on a rush week, but it does in the main game mode. But a minor bug, but it'd still be nice if they fixed that. Uh, I'm super excited to see the grapple changes, and I guess this is where we could just segue into the Muerto Times that they end up releasing, as there's a lot of things that thankfully they have confirmed that they will be fixing with the next update coming out for the game. So, starting from the top of the list here, we have, of course, the grapple rework. I'm not sure what is in store for that. Eventually, they're going to put in a blog post, so we'll be able to see what that is. I'm hoping they finally stop being stubborn and trying to do things their way and listen to the community, where we say keep the ability to insta kill a victim while they're grappling, but as soon as they win the grapple, that's when they start taking chip down. That's all we wanted to see. I'm not sure why it's taken them so long to have realized that and put that into fruition. There's the Xbox Series X and S crashes. I actually forgot about that. Yeah. For some reason, Xbox players have a 50-50 chance of crashing when they try to load into a game. So it's good that they'd be fixing that. I would argue that's a game-breaking bug that should have been fixed within a week. But, I mean, this is our devs here for you. I guess there's not enough money for them to even hot fix things, and they should, or they're just that incompetent. But we have Cook highlighting dead bodies. This has been a thing for a while now with his execution 3, I believe it was, the one where he strangled him with a stick. That execution, for some reason, made you highlight victims' dead bodies from that execution alone. Now it's just like either all the executions or just the new execution from 4. I'm not sure. I personally don't use Cook enough to really notice it, but we have the Rush Week audio. I was kind of glazed over this even in my video itself, but the girls themselves don't scream when they get hurt or are getting killed. They scream when they're getting pulled out of cars and stuff. That's about it. Then just the cutscene audio, there's just no audio to it at all. That needs to be fixed. They have under investigation the camera getting stuck in Johnny. I seen this in Alucard's stream, but all the games I play with Johnny, which as I record this video have been a lot more since the 5 I managed to play before I recorded that video Rush Week. I've never seen this issue. There's the execution pack FPS. I only really noticed this with Hitchhikers. The blood seems to fly like literally 4 FPS. The damage from the Hitchhiker window trap. They worded this really strange, but I'm assuming this is going to be the fact that when you step into the trap in front of the window, you get stuck. It takes damage from you going out the window, and it kind of like puts the perspective of you going out the window even though you didn't. So this has been in the game for literally a year. It's pathetic that they're only just now fixing this. There's no way they didn't know about it. Someone had to complain about it. So moving on, we have sneak attack inconsistencies. I'm not sure what that is about. Only thing I can really think about is the fact that the prompt doesn't pop up properly a lot of times, especially with Leatherface. I'm not sure if he's immune to being sneak attack when he's trying to overhead, or it feels like he's just too fast to catch most of the time. But I feel like I might have hit him in the back while he was overhead. I could be wrong. Only other thing I could think of they might be mentioning here is the fact that sometimes when you stab the family members, they join at different animations. They'll be just them kind of hunching over. Other times it'll be them actually kneeling down. They always seem to go into the temper tantrum animation after, but again, yeah, it'd be nice for them to shore up stuff like that. Although I'm more concerned about the close encounter inconsistencies, where Johnny has like a default 10-second stun after you beat him in a grapple, and then Hitchhiker in the hands, they only stunt for like 2 seconds after you beat them. It's just like, I don't know why the strength doesn't regulate how long the stun is by default, even without choose fight, but that maybe should be a thing. Now we have the generator and battery minigame issues. I'm not sure what this refers to. I mean, I don't play Victim enough to really notice this, but the few games I did play with friends, I didn't notice anything with the mini games. They didn't report on anything. I mean, granted, I don't usually turn off the battery or gen like that because I play usually more of a distraction or bodyguard kind of role when I play Victim. I haven't played proficiency, trying to escape as fast as possible type of stuff since I was leveling up perks on Victims, and people could brag about leveling up all their perks. I'm sorry. I might have beaten a lot of you guys to the punch a lot earlier. It's just I'm not one to flex about that. But moving on. There's the Valve pressure tank audio issues. I'm not sure what this refers to. I guess that not enough victims go for the Valve tank nowadays, especially with hands in the game. That kind of killed all the hype around trying to get out through the Valve tank, especially after Data got released. But I mean, I've always had issues with Leatherface where I can't hear anything over his loud chainsaw, whether it be the generator turning off or the valve tank. So I'm not sure what this refers to, but whatever issues are going on with it, I'm glad to see it fixed. I'll say that much. But that is going to really be it for the Muerto Times. There have been issues again. They confirmed that they will be fixing that they didn't list here again. The endurance should be fixed. Grandpa, well, I think I already said Grandpa perks. If not, yeah, they should be fixing all the issues with Grandpa. What else did they say that they mentioned? The doors. I think it said on here that they're fixing the doors, the other issues with doors, but hopefully by the end of this month, they fix a lot of these long-standing bugs and issues that have been in the game with the anniversary. I'm not counting on us seeing any victim or family member, as we would have seen teasers by now, whatnot. But at this point, I just want to see them fix all these stupid bugs. It'd be nice if we got a cool execution. Not execution. That would get another execution pack. I'm sorry. Some cool outfits for characters next update. I don't know who. I don't care who, but as long as it looks good, sure. I just want to see a lot of these stupid bugs and stuff fixed. Maybe some balancing changes. The grapple thing is going to be nice, especially if it helps the family member not get bullied by these grapples anymore. As soon as people realize the grapples are fixed, grapple mania was full effect. Shoot, just before I record this video, I had a lovely game with good old Anna where I felt the one Anna who actually knows how to use the character, not just die instantly in the basement, but they sat here and grappled me nonstop. I had a baby Bubba on my team who's no help. He was always pretty much right next to me, yet somehow this Anna punched me in my nose 10 times, and Leatherface was never there to swing at her during these grapples. She even managed to get the fuse box in front of her, but it's just, the relevance, I'm sorry, it's just I got really triggered by that one, but only thing I didn't really touch up on here is going to be the execution. So I'll touch up on how I feel about some of these executions after. I'm just going to shut up and show you guys all the executions. Each and every one of the family members got them, so this is a big pile of them. So definitely a lot of bang for your buck out of the content pass that this is on us. I'm not sure what this execution pack cost on its own. I can only assume it costs more than the other execution packs as there's more characters in it than the others, but again, shutting up now. Enjoy the executions there. Yeah, through the battery. Uh-oh, looks like someone bled out. Come here. Get your punishment.
This is for your own good. gonna find you. You should have never came here looking for that.
So get into the executions. I guess we'll go from good old Leatherface down to Hands. Leatherface, his execution's cool, but it really feels like it's lacking a decapitation. If the head rolled off after execution, I think that would really have completed that one. Hitchhikers is just yet another goofy execution. It's Fountain 2.0. It starts off kind of gory with him literally splitting the chest open, but then, when he starts motor bolting, and that's when it's like, okay, Hitchhiker. I also want to note that it gets a lot of blood on her chest. I'm sorry, on his face. It gets a lot of blood on Hitchhiker's face when I execution, so that's a little gnarly. Cook. Cook's a nice throwback to the scene in the movie where he starts beating Hitchhiker the driveway, but with someone pointing out that his stick doesn't connect to the bag, it really kind of killed it for me. And it looks like they even tried to hide it by putting the camera in this weird angle to where you can't even see him beating the victim either, so it doesn't help that he also stands over the body for an extremely long amount of time, like Sissy does a lot of her execution, so that definitely doesn't help it much. We then have Sissy. I guess we'll go straight to her. Also, another thing before I even get into it, for some reason, every update, they keep switching Sissy's position on the menu. They have her on the bottom of the list where she is now, then they moved her next to Hitchhiker, they put her back on the bottom, then they put her at the top, now she's on the bottom again. So I don't know why they keep switching around where she is. I mean, this might have to do with, again, them using the June code, it feels like, and adding on top of it, because I want to say it was around July or August they added her back up to the top next to Hitchhiker, and now she's on the bottom again. So we'll see where she ends up the next update. But her execution's goofy. It's not really gory or cool or anything. It's just her just kind of cutting them on the slitting their limbs. I don't even know how to describe it. And the little goofy face she makes before she slits their throat. It's just like, what is the execution? Jody, not just going to Hands too. I don't know what's going on with them. They're just beating people up like they're in a bar brawl, but it's a little more brutal when they're doing it to a girl, but it doesn't feel as brutal just because the fact that the noises the girls make, aside from Julie, when they're getting punched, are a little muted. I mean, yeah, Maria's too. Julie and Maria usually have a lot of animated screams for getting hurt in their executions. That's why I rank them killing them at the top of the list compared to a lot of characters. As they're pretty consistent on it feeling brutal when you kill them or whatever, or gruesome, I should say. But besides that, I like Johnny's a bit more than Hands. They're both of them punching you in the face, but Johnny's feels a bit more brutal. Whereas Hands, he punches them more, but it doesn't feel like he's putting his all into those punches like Johnny is. That's for sure. And then Nancy's isn't that bad. Hers isn't that amazing, but it's not nearly as bad as, let's say, her roadkill animation. Granted, a lot of Nancy's animations, I'm sorry, executions, just a lot of the execution from the third pack in general, they felt a little lackluster just because they didn't scream out as much as they could. But I think that's really about enough talking about people dying in a video game or whatever. That's really it for this video. I'm already kind of clumping into Muerto Times with this. I don't want this to be too long. Um, Jeez. I guess only thing really left to say is I'm gonna ask you guys for your thoughts on the update. What were your experiences with it? I can already say that I'm getting sick and tired of the rise in hackers. It'd be nice if they were to do something about that. 'Cause I keep hearing people saying easy anti-cheat isn't it, so maybe they should actually do something to fix the cheaters in the game in a bit more of a
Well, hello.
satisfactory faction. I don't know. It was just
Well, hello.
before I recorded this update, I had one cheater and then one potential cheater. The Connie was pretty blatant. She was just literally just running around the map, grunting, and then I looked at her points. I'm like, I think someone might be at battery. And of course, the entire battery's open, and she was sitting there teabagging like she did something special. I mean, I just quit. I don't entertain hackers. As soon as I see a hack, I just leave. Um, I seen a Sissy not long after. She was running Scout, Rubber Legs, and what was the other one? uh, Spore Loser. Then she changed one of her perks to Universal Donor. I immediately cursed them out and left the lobby because it was very blatant. She was cheating. You can't use that combination of perks on Sissy. You could use Scout and Universal Donor, but you cannot use Rubber Legs and Scout or any of those other perks next to it. They'd be very broken if you could. That's one of the combinations of perks I wished we'd be able to see if they didn't have the restrictive skill tree we have there. But yeah, definitely little subtle things like that. Oh shoot! And yesterday I played with a hacker who was speed hacking and using walls, and he was trying to play it all like he wasn't hacking, which is hilarious. Especially seeing as Anna went down a well, and in DC, this guy managed to meet her down there where he was upstairs with us, and he tried to play like, "Hey, I managed to get her in time." It's just pathetic how unpunished hackers go in this game. We all know about the Johnny hacker. That's apparently he's been actually banned too. It's just he's got so many different accounts. It doesn't matter. So again, that's gonna be it. Before I go on another rant here, let's end the video off in 30 seconds, like I planned. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, get a life.